Good morning, everyone, and a very happy Thursday to you all. Thank you very much for joining our webinar this morning. My name is Buhles Banyoni from Legal&Tax, and I'm joined by Mr. Johan Swart, who is our Head of Tax Services here at Legal&Tax. Hi, Johan, and thank you so
Hi.
much for joining me this morning.
Hi, Buhle. I think the mister you must chop, it just emphasizes the gray hair.
Oh, wow. No,
It's just your hand, please.
okay, they say the silver strands show wisdom, so it's not gray hairs, it's just wisdom strands. So our Minister of Finance, Minister Enoch Godongwane, delivered his annual budget speech yesterday afternoon, which offered some good news on tax income and tax relief. We're finally seeing a glimpse of light at the end of a grim fiscal tunnel. So in our webinar today, we'll be unpacking some of the key economic and tax highlights with Johan. We will be sharing with you everything you need to know in detail and in a nutshell. Legal&Tax is your partner and companion in understanding all tax matters, and we're here to offer any advice and assistance on any personal tax matters, and this includes setting up and assisting with your e-filing, your tax return submissions. In every situation, just remember that with Legal&Tax, you're not alone. We're here to be a companion for you. So yeah, we'll be kicking off shortly, but if you have any questions that you'd like to pose to Johan, please feel free to type in your questions in our chat box that's available on the platform, and we'll then open up the floor for Johan to answer your questions at the end of the segment. So yeah, Johan, let's get into it. Now, we sat together yesterday in the boardroom and watched yesterday's proceedings. Can you roughly just take us through some of the highlights from yesterday's fiscal speech and how this affects our members?
Okay, not a problem. I'll go into a bit of detail later, but first of all, there's a general decline in tax rates and personal tax. First time in 22 years, can you believe it? 22 years, there has not been an increase in the fuel levy or the road accident fund levy. I am hoping that someone in government saw what was 20 Rand a litre cost of fuel doing to us, and they decided just to give us a little bit of a break. Sorry for laughing, but it's literally the first time in 22 years that this has happened. So
Wow.
yes, there's good news. For me personally, another little piece of good news is that the price of beer will only increase by 11 cents. So obviously, when you come to sin taxes, all the sin taxes has increased, and they will continue to do so in future. It's just a way to offset costs for the government related to health issues created by those beloved sins of ours. Like, for instance, cigarettes will cost 1 Rand and 3 cents per 20 more. For those of us that do smoke like me, hence my beautiful nasal tone, sometimes overindulging. But before I get to this year, I would like to take just a step back. It's been a hard 2 years for all of us, past 2 years. And tax can really easily add to our feeling of despair. And like you said, when you started, please let us help you. Do not just throw your hands in the air and give up on whatever is bothering you in life, whether it's a legal matter or a tax matter. We are really there to help you. So if I take a step back, the 2021 tax returns should have been finalized by the end of November last year. If you did not do your return, but you got a notice from SARS that they issued an estimated assessment and you have not contacted us with that information, please do so, so we can review what SARS did, whether it's correct, whether it's acceptable, whether they did not charge you penalties or anything outstanding, so that we can make sure that your standing with SARS is up to date. Now, to start off with the tax years, budget was yesterday. The 2022 tax year actually ends on Monday, the 28th of February. That will be the end of the 2022 tax year. So this budget date was tabled 22-23. 2023 tax year starts on the 1st of March and it will end 28th of February 2023. So what really is happening here is they are telling us how much money they've collected for the past year, and they are telling us how they're going to spend it in the coming year. Right. So let us start off with personal income tax. Sorry. These are not glasses. They make my arms longer.
Accessories.
Sorry for that, guys. Right, accessories indeed. Okay, so I just did the quick comparison for a person earning 10,000 Rand, person earning 20,000 Rand, and a person earning 30,000 Rand per month. Right. So last year on 10,000 Rand per month, he would have paid 490 Rand in tax. That's just short of 5% of your income. This year, coming year, from the 1st of March or the end of March, you're going to pay 431 Rand in tax on 10,000 Rands worth of income. Works out like about 4.3% of your income. If we go to 20,000 Rand, right, last year you would have paid 2,450 Rand. Coming year, 2,324 Rand, which is 126 Rand less. And then on 30,000 Rand, past year, 5,142 Rand per month. The coming year, 4,953 Rand a month, which is a reduction of 189 Rand. And I worked out that more or less you can look as a percentage of your income, the tax is about 0.5% less. Okay, so the tax definitely did drop. That means because the tax rate dropped, that the threshold increased. What that means is that below a certain amount earned per month, you will not be liable for tax, right? So last year, that amount per month was 7,275 Rand, and for the coming year, it will be 7,604 Rand. So if you earn less than 6,704 Rand from March, you will not be paying any tax on it. So that, in short, is the biggest effect what the budget will have on us as individuals.
Okay, great. And then are there any news for our medical aid members regarding rebates and any adjustments?
Yeah, the news is not that totally wonderful, but the rebate increased for the first two members to 15 Rand, from 332 to 347 Rand. And then for every member thereafter, it increased with 10 Rand, from 224 Rand to 234 Rand. So it's not a huge increase. It did, however, raise questions on the way the government wants to move forward with the national health insurance, because these rebates for medical aid contributions have been stagnant for a while, but yet they increased it a little bit this year. So maybe it shows us that the NHI, which is very, very difficult to implement, has been just maybe being pushed a little bit forward. Just speculation, we don't know, but yeah.
Okay, great. And then we had a brief chat about this yesterday, and you highlighted it to me regarding, someone with more than one source of income. What should they be aware of?
Okay, that was actually announced during last year, but I'm so glad you mentioned it, because it affects a lot of people. It affects a lot of our members. So say, for instance, you contributed to a retirement annuity, and you now reached my age. So at 55, you want that annuity to pay out, and it pays out in monthly income to you, but you are still employed as well, right? So now you've got two sources of income. And what happened in the past is that these two sources of income was added together on your annual assessment, causing you to owe SARS money. Right. So from the 1st of March, SARS is going to instruct the payers of these second income sources to deduct more tax. So SARS will base their calculation on your previous year of assessment, and say, for instance, your marginal tax rate is 31%, then they will instruct that second payer to deduct 31% of tax from your second income. We have also seen this in the past, especially with workers in the healthcare industry. We really had a lot of nursing staff, for instance. They use 24 hours and they work 8 shifts. So a lot of them took extra shifts from a second employer to make extra money, because obviously everybody needed extra money. And this really placed a substantial tax burden on a lot of them, because employees tax and income tax, although linked, it's not got specifically the same roles. So my employer, which is Legal&Tax, will not know that I get an annuity, for instance, extra income. And they will only deduct tax in accordance to the rules of employee tax, that I am the employee, I earn X amount from them, and that's the amount of tax they deduct. Similarly, with either the second job or the second income, those people will not take into account that it might not be your only source of income, and therefore the tax that they deduct will be totally inadequate to make up for your assessment that comes out at the end of your tax year.
Okay. And then lastly, is there anything else, any other items from the 2021 tax year that still affects our members? And, what advice do you have for them?
If you have not submitted your tax return yet, look, everybody says it's filing season now from July last year, from July 2021 to end of November 2021, that's filing season. But that is not entirely the truth. You can submit a tax return at any time for any year. So if you've got arrear tax returns, please sort out the matter. Doesn't matter if it goes back to 2018, 2016, doesn't matter. If you haven't submitted your return for last year, does not matter. Let us help you out, submit that return, and make sure that there is no, how shall we say, outstanding tax matters, because having a tax matter with SARS, either money outstanding or penalties outstanding, you want to be aware of it, you want to solve the matter if possible. And also when, I don't really know how to say this, in our lives, financial things happen to us, right? I would like to encourage our members, any financial decision you take, whether you want to take out a retirement annuity or life insurance or an endowment policy or whatever, before you sign the contract, please get in contact with us. Talk to one of our legal guys. Ask them, what's the implications of this? Talk to one of our tax guys. What's the implications of this? And similarly, it applies to when your taxes are not up to date. If you have an annuity that has to pay out now and your taxes are not up to date, SARS will not issue the tax directive to the person or the institution that has to pay you, so your payout will be delayed. Or if you owe SARS money, SARS will deduct that money from your money that you're going to receive from either an annuity or an endowment policy or whatever the case might be. So that is why it is so important. Tax is sometimes viewed as a historical event only, but I implore our members and anyone that's listening today, do not view it like that. Be proactive. If you're a guy and you're employed and you get a traveling allowance, but the traveling allowance is only starting at the beginning of the new year, please give us a call and tell us, I'm going to start to get a traveling allowance from my employer. what will the tax implications be? What do I need to do? What records do I need to keep? Because once your tax year have ended, right, tax year ends 28th of February, Monday coming. On the 1st of March, you cannot fix anything retroactively. You cannot go backwards and fix events or change events that have occurred. We can only go forward. So when something important happens in your life, at that date, please give us a call. Get your legal advice, get your tax advice, so that when the tax year ends, all your stuff is in order. You know what you need to get in the form of supporting documents. You know what to expect from SARS on how you will be taxed on whatever income you're going to receive. Take your financial life, get the advice proactively, because if you do not speak to me or do not speak to one of our legal advisors, we do not know what's going to happen in your life or what's happening in your life now. The same with a debt situation, any situation. If you do not speak to us, right, on what is happening now, it makes it so much harder to try and help you retroactively.
100%. Thank you so much, Johan. Thank you
Always a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure. I appreciate you sharing your insights with our members. And thank you to all our guests for joining us this morning as well. We are always, planning these webinars in order to offer guidance and offer a helping hand, to assist you in navigating all of your daily challenges that we all face, that we all experience. I feel that, we grow, and being around such resources and being, in the privy of someone that's experienced like Johan, you can only grow and do better in your personal life. So if you need any further tax assistance, please call us on 0860 587 587. You can also send us a WhatsApp on 071 526 8527. Or you can send an email through to info@legalandtax.co.za. I'm inviting you to join our upcoming webinar taking place next month, where we'll be helping you understand your human rights and how to protect your rights. Invitations will be extended in due course, closer to the time. But yes, if you have any other queries or you'd like to have a follow-up discussion with Johan, please do reach out to us on the numbers and contact details that I've given you. And once again, thank you very much for your time. And I wish you all a very lovely day further. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Cheers.